My name is Samuel Matei, and today I'm going to be talking about COVID-19 and what it can do. So COVID-19 is a disease that is caused by a virus. It can infect both old and young people, including children. Many children show mild symptoms, but also can be seriously ill. Here's ways that you might get COVID. Is if anybody infected breathes air if you breathe in air from anybody infected, or if anybody infected coughs or sneezes near you, or if you rub your eyes, mouth, and nose. Here are the symptoms of COVID. So the symptoms of COVID are headache, fever or chills, coughing, loss of taste or smell, diarrhea, and throwing up. Here are some ways you can protect yourself from COVID. Adults and children can defeat COVID and keep teachers and nurses like my mom safe by getting vaccines if you're eligible, wearing a mask above your nose and mouth, staying 6 feet apart, washing your hands properly or sanitizing, and staying home from work and school. I miss playing with my friends, going to birthday parties, having sleepovers, and doing Bible studies in my friend's house without restrictions from COVID. So you adults, I want you to, if you're eligible, please get a vaccine so that you can protect the kids that are 12 and under. So that way you can show some love for us, and that way kids will stop getting COVID, and same with adults. Now I invite you all to join our kids' town hall meeting where kids will be talking about COVID-19.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our COVID vaccine town hall today. We are honored to have our special guests here with us, and in our audience we also have our children who are participating in asking us a few questions that they would like our experts to be able to answer so that we can help them understand the meaning of the vaccine and what they might expect as they plan to receive the vaccine, or for those who have received the vaccine, any questions you may have about the COVID-19 vaccine. My name is Caroline Zhao, and I serve as an elder at Destiny Hill Church and also a youth director. In my professional career, I'm the Chief Nursing Officer at Children's Minnesota, and I'm delighted to introduce our guests with us and our special experts in COVID vaccines. So I will start with you, Dr. Judith.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for having us here. My name is Judith Shu, Dr. Shu if you prefer, but I like to go by Judith. And I am a nurse practitioner. I work in the emergency department. And I have seen COVID in every form. And my goal here today is to encourage our kids and to possibly answer any questions you have within my expertise based on my experience and my education, so that you can be well versed with the COVID-19 virus and the vaccines that we have available. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's event. My name is Dr. Felicia Ikebude, Doctor of Nursing Practice. I am also a community trusted messenger with Minnesota Department of Health. With this COVID, we've been doing a lot of media messaging, currently working with Empire Smiles USA to give COVID messages to our community. Since the COVID started, it has impacted us a lot. And, the Black communities are severely impacted by the effect of COVID, both physically, mentally, and economically. And we've seen all that's been going on around, affecting every family in all spheres. So we are here to discuss COVID-19 as it relates to our children today. So just stay tuned, and we are here to talk about just any question you have for us today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Felicia. All right, we will start off with our first question. And as we wait for our first child to ask the question, I would like to inform our audience that we are being cautious and continuing to observe our mask mandate, knowing that in the room, while we have vaccinated adults, majority of our kids are also not vaccinated. So we are taking all precautions we can to stop the spread of COVID-19 to our children. So with that, I will start with our first child, Gianna. She has a question for the experts.
My name is Gianna. I'm 6 years old. My birthday is November the 3rd. And my question is, how do we get rid of coronavirus?
Gianna is asking, how do we get rid of the virus? Dr. Judith, would you like to answer that question?
Sure. Thank you, Gianna. Thank you for that question. We can get rid of the coronavirus in so many ways, some of which are hand hygiene, as we've been recommended to do so by the Center of Disease and Control. Hand hygiene, wearing your mask, and maintaining a safe distance from other people. The problem we have with COVID vaccine is that, with COVID virus, is that not everybody who has the virus has symptoms. So you cannot wait until you're exposed or you think you're exposed before you can follow those recommendations, which is why we have to wash our hands, wear our mask, and maintain a safe distance. And for us to know how to prevent the spread of this virus so that we can eventually get rid of it, we have to first of all know how it is being spread. So if you know how this virus is being spread, then you believe in the things that we are asking you to do. The way the virus is being spread is that when people have the virus and they don't have a mask on and they're talking, they send out little particles of their spittle into the air, and you who is close to them and breathing in, you are inhaling those particles that contain the virus and you don't even know. However, if you had your mask on, those particles will not get into your respiratory system, which means it will not go through your nose. You're taking a deep breath and you take it into your lungs and you become sick. Sometimes when people talk, have you ever been around someone who talks and they have spit coming out of their mouth? They don't do it intentionally. So if they talk and they have spit come out of their mouth and it drops on this table, you put your hand right here, you pick it up, you touch your eye, you touch your nose, or you pick on your tooth, then you've introduced the virus into your system. There goes our hand hygiene. The other thing we do is social distancing. The CDC says that if you're around somebody who has the virus and they don't have a mask and you don't have a mask, if you stay within that vicinity for a maximum of 15 minutes, you will pick up the virus. So social distancing, you stay away so that when those droplets get into the air, you're not inhaling them. So the take-home message is 3 things are being recommended: hand hygiene, face mask so you don't breathe in any particles in the air, and maintaining a safe distance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Judith, for that answer. All right, we will go on to our next child. We'll invite Rachel. She has a question for us.
My name is Rachel. I'm 9 years old. My birthday is July 30th. When do you expect us to, when do you expect children when do you expect children under 12 years get vaccinated?
Great question, Rachel. All right, Dr. Felicia, would you like to respond to that question?
Rachel, thank you very much for that question. When do we expect children less than 12 years to start getting the COVID vaccine? It's under work right now, maybe before the end of the winter. The government will give emergency use authorization so that kids who are less than 12 years old could get the COVID vaccine. We know that children who are 12 years and above are getting it now, and as we are getting back to school, we want our kids to be safe. That is why the manufacturers of the vaccine, the 3 vaccines we have now, are working tirelessly, especially the Pfizer. They are very, very close to allowing children who are less than 12 years to get the vaccine. And we are happy about that. And they want to make sure it's safe for you, so that when you get it, you don't have a lot of side effects. And they're still studying it, and they're doing the clinical trials right now. So very, very soon it's gonna come, and we're gonna ask all the kids less than 12 to roll up their sleeves too to get vaccinated. Thank you.
To add on to that, the vaccine for kids below 12 years of age is on the way. So before any vaccine is released into the public for use, it has to go through 3 phases of clinical trials. The vaccine for kids below 12 years of age is currently at the 2nd phase of the trials. So we are getting really close to making sure that our kids are not left behind.
So the other reason why the vaccine is taking a little longer to come for kids under 12 years age, although we've heard it's very close, is that because we want to make sure it has the right dosage. That means the amount that you get for the vaccine is the right amount. So I will give an example. Your mom takes Tylenol at a different amount than you do. Same thing with the vaccine. The adults have their own amount that they take, which is higher than for you as a child, and we want to make sure that we are able to have the right amount for you so you do not have side effects.
Hi, my name is Lexi and I'm 13 years old. And my question is, how does the booster help you when you're fully vaccinated?
Great question, Lexi. All right, Dr. Judith.
Lexi, thank you for that question. So the booster shot was developed because we had a lot of variants coming up. And we had variants, that means different kinds of COVID viruses were coming up because not everybody was vaccinated, not everybody was following the recommendations. So we are mixing ourselves amongst people who are not vaccinated, and we are creating variants that are they produce very strong side symptoms, so people were dying from those. So the goal was to produce a booster to help bring back the immune system so that we can continue to fight the virus.
Thank you, Lacey, for that question. Thank you, Dr. Judy. The booster dose, what it does is give an extra immunity to anybody who has been fully vaccinated. For example, if you took the Pfizer vaccine and you took your 2 series complete dose, the booster is an additional dose you get. And they want us to get that booster dose 6 months at least after you got your full series. I know a lot of people are confusing the additional dose that is given to people who are immunocompromised, which they could get at 28 days after they get their 2nd complete dose. So we're just going to make that difference. The booster dose is different from the additional dose that is given to people who are immunocompromised. It's given because we want to give people extra immunity. Like Dr. Judy said, because there is a lot of variants coming out, some are stronger than the other, and the 2 shots that people get, it wears off over time. That's why they are giving people the booster dose to help them maintain the immunity or additional immunity to what they already have. Thank you.
I'm just going to add to that. She talked about immunocompromised people receiving the booster shot. Some healthcare workers can also get the shot. But for immunocompromised people, why we place emphasis on them is because even when they are fully vaccinated with the 2 shots, they do not have the same full immunity from the vaccine as people who are not immunocompromised. Because their immune system is so weak, they do not have the same amount of benefits that people who are not immunocompromised have. So they are at an added advantage to take the booster shot.
Thank you very much for that clarification. All right, we will have Imani come up and ask the next question.
Hello, my name is Imani and I am 10 years old. And my question is, will the COVID vaccine be mandated in the future?
Great question. Dr. Felicia, would you like to answer that one?
That's an excellent question, Imani. Will COVID vaccine be mandated in future? I would say yes and no. Already you have some required immunization that you take before you go to school. And every school district mandate that you take such immunization, like your measles vaccines and all that. Even your flu shot, they encourage you to take it, but they don't mandate you. All right? Some parents sign a waiver if they have a child who has allergies to immunizations. They sign a waiver so you will not get the vaccine. But it's highly encouraged that you get vaccinated. So the answer of yes is it might be required for you to get the vaccine when you go back to school if it's something we get every year. Even in California, as we speak, the governor has already said it that if they approve the emergency use the vaccine for children less than 12 years of age, he's going to mandate it for every child to get it in his state. But it's different from state to state. It depends on what locality you are and what condition you have. It might be a yes, you will get it, or depending on where you are, they might say it's required but not mandated to get.
Additionally, the question about the mandates for the vaccine comes up a lot. In our own state, many of the healthcare organizations that take care of kids and adults and our grandparents also require those who work there to get a vaccine so that they can be able to have the protection in case they have to care for somebody who is not able to get a vaccine. For instance, if you have an allergic reaction to the vaccine, or your doctor deems that it's not, you're not able to get a vaccine. But it is the right thing to do to get a vaccine on our own and to make that decision, and not just to wait for it to be a mandate, because we are going to be protecting ourselves and each other. And as you know, citizens, good citizens, you guys learned about citizenship in school. As good citizens of our country and of this world, we protect each other, and the vaccine allows us to protect each other from getting sick. All right. Dr. Judith, anything else to add?
I would just like to add that if you hear on the news when they're talking about mandates, it's just because we are not having a hold of this virus. So if the virus keeps spreading and the vaccines are not helping, or they are helping, but because we don't have enough people vaccinated, we keep having different variants come up. This is going to push the healthcare experts and maybe the government to start mandating people too. So the goal is not to infringe on anybody's rights, but I think it's an attempt to curb down the spread of the virus.
Thank you very much. All right, we will take the next question from Micah.
Hi, my name is Micah. I'm 8.5. I'm in 3rd grade. My question is, can pets get the coronavirus and can they pass it on to humans?
Wow, wonderful question, Micah. Can pets get the coronavirus? Dr. Judith.
Micah, do you have a pet? No? Wow, how nice of you to be inclusive of everyone, including the pets. Well, the research does show that pets can have the virus, but they have it when they come in close contact with people who are infected with the virus. However, on the other hand, there is low probability for the pet to pass it on to the humans. So if you have the virus or have symptoms that are suspicious of the virus, you want to stay away from your pets. You don't want to infect them. Just as if you have the symptoms, you want to protect everybody at home by maintaining or using the precautions that have been put in place. Which brings me to the point that each of us sitting here should have a plan for our households, because we don't know when one of us is going to come down with the virus. And if that does happen, how do we go about it? And if we have people at home who are not of age to take the virus, or people who have immunocompromised systems, how do we protect them? Because it's our goal to protect each other. And sometimes people find comfort in their pets. So if you're sick and you infect a pet, then the low probability will be when it's going to affect the person in your home who is immunocompromised. So yes, the pet can pass it on to humans, but we don't know how much they can do that.
And as a reminder, Dr. Felicia, would you please remind us how we stop the spread, even in our own homes?
So at the beginning of this session, Dr. Shu told us about the 3 key things that we need to do. So we need to continue doing that, maintaining our hand hygiene. It's hard to keep 6 feet distant when, you have to hug mom and hug dad. But you know what they call 6 feet? Example of 6 feet is the couch you have at home, the 3-seater couch. Somebody sits at the edge and somebody sits at this other edge. That's 6 feet. So if someone is sick and you want to sit with them, they can wear their masks and you can wear your mask and sit 6 feet apart. And then make sure that if you're sick, you tell mommy, you tell daddy that you're sick so that they can make arrangement. Mommy will still be with you, but she's going to have to put her mask on. And you won't see her when she smiles, but she's going to be there to take care of you. So that's some of the things we can do at home. Make sure that if you're having any symptoms, you let mom and dad know, like if you're having headache, having fever, having sore throat or cough, you tell mom and dad that you're having those symptoms, and they could check you to see if you have the virus in you so that they can take adequate measure to make sure that you are safe and the rest of the people at home are safe.
Thank you, Dr. Kebude. Sometimes the symptoms of COVID are not classic. Dr. Felicia here did name some of those symptoms, but there are people who come in with a rash. Some people have a toe that is hurting. So for you kids, if you have anything new with you, let your parents know. Because the symptoms of COVID, again, are not classic. Not everybody has the same symptoms, so you shouldn't be waiting for a sore throat or a cough before you tell your mom. And sometimes it goes to us, the parents. There's a lot of myth surrounding COVID. Just as we are asking our kids to tell us when they have something different, we should be open to tell the kids that mommy has a headache, don't come close to mommy. But because we are so afraid of the COVID, we second guess ourselves, and before we know it, we've contaminated our households. So we should preach and practice what we preach.
Great. All right. We'll go to the next question. Israel, are you ready?
My name is Israel. I'm 6 years old. How do we not get the coronavirus?
How do we not get the coronavirus is the question from Israel today.
Thank you, Israel. Thank you so much. The coronavirus is spread through contacts. It means you touch a surface that is contaminated. So I would tell you here and again that one of the things you can do is wash your hands. If you want to grab a snack, you don't remember the last time you touched on a surface, or you don't even remember the last time you washed your hands, please wash your hands. And you guys have been asking us questions. I'm going to ask you guys a question. How long do you have to wash your hands for to consider it proper hand washing? Okay, I have so many hands up. I'm going to ask Israel since he posed the question. Thank you all for trying to respond. 20 seconds. Thank you. Thank you so much. So you have to wash your hands for 20 good seconds, rubbing them together. It is the friction that helps to take off the germs that we have on our hands. I have observed many kids and even some adults, when they go to wash their hands, they soak their hands. You know what happens when you soak your hands and there are germs on your hands? You just gave that germ the food it needs to grow. So you have germs on your hands, you soak them, the germs now have good medium to grow, they grow and you distribute it to everybody. So not only do you have to wash your hands, you have to wash your hands properly. And that is 20 seconds. The next thing we have to do, because we all know COVID, some people get it, they're very sick, some people don't even know they have it, and some people even die from it. You will hate to know that somebody came in contact with you and died because you did not know you had COVID and you infected them. So when you find yourself in public indoor spaces like the one we are in right now, what do you have to have on? Your mask. Your mask will protect you and is going to protect the person close to you, so that we all contain our own germs. They stay in here with us and we keep it with us and we don't infect other people. Unfortunately, in here we cannot maintain 6 feet. However, we're doing the right thing. We have our mask on. So Israel, for you not to have the virus, you have to do proper hand hygiene. You have to always make sure you have your mask on when you're in the presence of other people. And I don't want to say people that are sick, because not everybody who has COVID is sick. Some people have it, they're giving it to other people, they don't have any symptoms, they don't even know that they're doing that. So there is something they call universal precautions. Treat everybody as if they are infectious. Put on your mask. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Sydney, are you ready for the next question? Yes, you may add, Dr. Felicia.
What I want to add, Dr. Judy did a good job of telling us how to, stay away from the coronavirus so you don't get it. Another thing we need to tell our parents and, any one of us here, whenever you're sick, please stay home. A lot of parents, because they are working and they don't have daycare, they send their kids sick to school. That's a very big, dangerous or an atmosphere to spread the virus. So when you're sick, tell mom and dad and parents, please, if your kids are sick, keep them home. Thank you.
Thank you. Sydney, are you ready for the next question? All right.
My name is Sydney. I'm 13 years old, and my question is, I already have the vaccine. I'm fully vaccinated, and I also already got COVID, so am I safe from COVID now?
All right, Dr. Judith.
I wish I could say yes. Well, if you have already had COVID and you're fully vaccinated, you can still have COVID. But studies show that people who have had COVID and fully vaccinated are less likely to be reinfected with the virus. And for those that have had a repeat infection from COVID, they have milder symptoms. You don't get as sick as you would be if you did not take the vaccine.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Felicia.
Yes. If you're fully vaccinated, and peradventure you had the virus also, you can still have the virus again because you might get a different strain. That's one thing. Another thing is that you might even have the virus and not know about it, because we had a friend and she was fully vaccinated. She had the COVID infection in the earlier on, but she was well and going about her business. She only went to do another COVID testing because she was going for a routine surgery that was planned, and they found out that she had COVID. She didn't have any symptoms. If she was going around without her mask, or going to places that are crowded without her mask on, she would have spread it to so many people without knowing. She didn't have any symptoms. She just got tested because she was going for a routine test, and she tested positive. So she has to go to quarantine, but she was well. She said she's fine. And then after she got quarantined for 14 days, she went out and got her surgery done.
Sadiki, you're next for a question.
Hi, my name is Siddiqui, and I'm 12 years old, and my question is, are there more people who've survived from COVID than the people who've died from it?
Are there more people who've survived from COVID than there are those who've died from it?
Thank you, Siddiqui, for that question. Earlier on in the pandemic, we were all very, very fearful. By this time last year, we couldn't even gather the way we are gathering now, because we didn't have the vaccine, number one, and the virus itself was being studied, how it worked and all that. A lot of people were infected, a lot of people died, but I would say more people survived it than the people that died. And it is more important now that we have the vaccine. We're encouraging a lot of people who are able to take the vaccine, if you're 12 years and above, to take the vaccine, because data have shown that the vaccine, they are effective and they work. And we can see that the numbers of people dying from COVID virus has declined a lot. But with the Delta variant and reinfection, even at that, the medical system is getting better in treating people with COVID. People are dying less. If you're not vaccinated, we've seen more people die who are not vaccinated than people who have been vaccinated. Which brings us back to encourage people to take the vaccine. It's very effective and it works. So less people are dying now than before.
I'll also add on that more people who have not received the vaccine are getting sick and having to be in the hospital and be on a ventilator or other life treatments because of COVID-19 versus those who have received the vaccine. And it's really challenging the hospitals to have so many people sick and have not received the vaccine, and yet we still need to provide care to those who are getting sick from other illnesses such as heart attacks, or for kids, if you have asthma and you need care, you gotta come to the hospital or see your doctor. And right now there are more people in the hospital that have COVID that have not received a vaccine, and that makes it challenging to be able to provide care for everybody.
I just want to ask a follow-up question regarding, the hospital and patients coming in with COVID. Now, if I have my child with asthma coming to the emergency room, what are my chances of getting to see a provider now that there's so many patients who are coming with COVID and they've not been vaccinated? Are they taking the spots that we could have had at the ED, and then we are having to wait for very, very long time to get taken care of?
Thank you for that question. It's a yes and no, but the emergency room does what we call a triage system. If you come in with a kid that has asthma and is having an acute asthma attack, we have room for that kid. We would take care of that kid immediately. The unfortunate situation is when you come in and that kid is well appearing, and we take their vital signs and they look stable. Then we put you in the waiting room with a bunch of other people, many of whom do not follow the recommended guidelines. So you are at increased risk of becoming sicker just showing up with us than staying home to manage your kid and following through with your primary care doctor. Because most of the conditions like asthma that have no treatment, maintenance is essential, which means you have to keep your appointments with your primary, make sure you have an asthma plan, and make sure you have a way of contacting your provider. During this time of COVID, every healthcare organization has done virtual visits where you can communicate with your provider to have those rescue medications sent to a pharmacy close to you that you can pick them up safely. But yes, the people that have COVID are taking up a lot of space in the emergency room. Unfortunately, we can only take care of those that cannot help themselves, which means they cannot breathe. The only time we can keep you in the emergency room if you have COVID is if you cannot breathe. If you cannot breathe, we keep you, we give you oxygen. Sometimes if we have to put you on a machine, a ventilator to help you breathe, then we admit you into the hospital. But if you have COVID, just know that there is no treatment for COVID, so you just don't want to have it. You will go through the pain and all the symptoms that will beat your body so hard. We can only watch you in pain, but you can prevent going through that pain by taking the vaccine when it becomes available and if you're eligible for it. So my advice as an emergency room provider is do not come to the emergency room if you're not having an emergency. If you have COVID, stay home. The CDC is a very good website for you to go through. Look at recommendations of things to do at home to manage those symptoms. And on the CDC webpage, it also emphasizes that the only time you want to call your healthcare provider or show up to the emergency room is if you cannot breathe on your own, because we know you don't have oxygen at home, so you come and we can then supplement. Hopefully I answered your question, Dee. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Aiden, ready for the next question for you.
Hi, my name is Aiden. I am 10 years old. I take a biologic medication. My question is, will the vaccine affect my immune system?
All right.
Thank you, Adrian. If you take a biologic medication, your immunity may be compromised. That is why it's good. You need to get the vaccine if you're of age. That helps you build your already compromised immunity. According to CDC, if you are immunocompromised and you're up to the age of getting the vaccine, you can take your vaccines in 3 series. Take one vaccine, after that 28 days, you take another one, 28 days, and complete 3 doses of the vaccine. That will help build your immunity, because you're not like any other person who has a good immunity because of the medication you take. That will help build your immunity and make it like somebody who is regular. Regular people take 2 vaccines complete, and if they are 65 or they work high-risk job like Dr. Judy, who works in the emergency room, I work mostly in the community. I go take care of people at the nursing homes. I'm also high risk. I could take a second booster dose. One booster dose 6 months after that to help me build immunity, because it's data have shown that after some time, after completing your series, your immunity begins to wane out. That's why you need a booster dose. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, is it
Aiden?
Adrian. Adrian is already taking a drug that is compromising his immune system. How about somebody who is not taking the medication but has been diagnosed with a condition that is going to require them to take such a medication? The recommendation is that you can take your COVID vaccine and wait 90 days before you start your biologic medication. Or if you must start the biologic medication, you take it, and then 90 days after that, you can still take your COVID vaccine and there'll be no interference.
Good answer. All right. Ethan, you have a question?
Hello, my name is Ethan. I'm 9 years old, and my question is that why is COVID taking so long?
I am going to test the kids who have all been listening very attentively. Am I correct? Who amongst you can tell us why COVID is taking so long to be under control? Yes, Adrian.
Because some people do not want to wear their masks, and some people now do not want to take their vaccines, and that is gonna. And some people I'm pretty sure that's it.
Thank you so much. I am so impressed that you guys have been listening to the question and answers and the advice that we are giving. Yes, the people that are below 12 years of age, studies have shown that they carry the coronavirus. Unfortunately, many of them do not show symptoms, and they have been the ones that have contributed to the spread of the virus, which again takes us back to the fact that we have to wear our mask until we become eligible for the vaccine. And yes, Adrian said it, we have people who have refused to take the vaccine and they come out in public places infecting other people. We have people who are sick and they still choose to go to work. And those are some of the reasons why we have not been able to keep COVID under control. But it starts with each and every one of us. It starts with you and I. If you start doing the right thing, hand washing, social distancing, and keeping your mask on, other people will copy from you, and together we will build a healthier community.
Great. Sisi, are you ready? Come on over for your question.
Hi, my name is Cece, and I'm 8 years old, and my question about coronavirus is, if you have COVID and you get your vaccine at the same time, how long does it take from the virus to get away from your body?
Got it?
Thank you so much. So if you have if you get the vaccine, is that what you're saying, or if you get the COVID virus, it takes at least 2 weeks for you to start building immunity to the virus when you get the vaccine. And that is why after 2 weeks, 4 weeks, you get the second shot, depending on the vaccine you got. And then you take, after you complete that, they're saying the immunity will begin to wear off, and that's why they're asking people to get the booster dose. However, the booster dose is not for everybody. It's for people who are older, 65 and above, people who work high-risk job, like we said before, people who work in the hospital, first responders, and people who are like the people in the store that see a lot of people every day, teachers, they are people who work high risk. So they encourage them to take a booster dose 6 months after they got their complete vaccination initially. So that is why it takes a little while for you to build, and now studies have shown that people's immunity begins to wane gradually, and that's why they're introducing the booster doses for people. Thank you.
I'm going to add on to that. Thank you, Dr. Felicia. If you have the virus, if you have COVID-19 virus, you do not take the vaccine. The recommendation is that you wait at least 10 days from the first day you had symptoms, okay, before you can think of taking the vaccine. And if after 10 days you're still having symptoms, you cannot take the vaccine. So they say you wait 10 days, and if you wait 10 days, sometimes 14 days, if you're still having, say, fevers, that means your body is still actively shedding the virus. You don't want to take the vaccine at that time. You want to wait and take the vaccine. Now, if you've had COVID-19 and you want to take you've had COVID-19, you want to take the vaccine, you don't need a test. You don't need a test to see if the COVID virus is out of your system before you take the vaccine. Because you can test positive up to 90 days from your previous test. So testing you at that point is not recommended. So after 10, 14 days, if you're no longer having symptoms, the virus is still in your system, but you're not contagious. You can go around people, but if you have people like Adrian, who take a biologic medication, you always want to wear your mask around them to protect them. So do not take the vaccine if you have symptoms. And after your symptoms are gone, if you're 12 and above at this point, you are eligible to take the vaccine.
Great. Mina has a question.
Hi, my name is Mina and I'm 7 years old. Do kids with allergies or parents get the vaccine?
All right.
Is it Mina? Yeah. Mina, good question. It depends on what kind of allergies the kids or the parents have. I have had people ask if they can take the vaccine if they have allergies to eggs. The Pfizer vaccine and the Moderna vaccine do not contain eggs. They do not contain eggs. So if you have allergies to eggs, you can take the vaccine. Other things that are not in the vaccine are gelatin, latex, and common metals for which people have allergies. Iron, lithium, cobalt, things that we've seen people for that have caused them problems are not involved in the vaccine. So if you do have allergies and you do not have contraindications to vaccines, you can take the vaccine.
I just want to add that if you have had any allergies prior to any vaccine at all, you need to talk to your healthcare provider before you request COVID vaccine. Because they will look through your history and know if some of those vaccines that you are allergic to has some products in this COVID vaccine that they have now. So parents, if your child has reacted to any prior immunization, talk to your healthcare provider before you request COVID vaccine. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean has a question.
Hello, my name is Sean and I'm 13. Is there a way, because some kids are afraid of needles, to take the vaccine without like the needles?
Hello, Sean. That was a good question. How are we gonna go around it?
I could try.
I know.
So the vaccine right now is only available through the shot. But when you go get the vaccine and you're afraid of the needles, there are ways you can distract yourself or your parent can distract you so that your mind doesn't think about it and it's easy for you to get a shot. Some of the ways you can distract yourself are, for example, looking at your parents' phone or playing on Minecraft or any other game you play on the phone. It will distract you and it will be easy for you to get the vaccine without having to scream or squeal or absolutely refuse to take it. But right now, the vaccine is only available through the needle. The needle feels like a small poke or a prick. And think about when you fall, you get hurt sometimes and you feel the pain and then the pain goes away. So it will literally go away as soon as your body heals. It will literally go away soon and you will not feel it for the rest of your life. So that's how I could say That's the best way to prevent yourself from getting COVID. Distract yourself and take the shot. All right. Cici, are you ready? Yeah. Come on over.
Hello, my name is Cece. I am 7 years old. What does it take for parents to get the COVID so that we could be safe?
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Cece. What does it take for people who hasn't gotten the COVID vaccine to take the COVID vaccine so that we can all be safe, right? A lot of people have questions about the COVID vaccine. And what I tell them is, your questions or your concerns, they are legitimate. We understand your questions. There are a lot of reasons why people are hesitant. That's using that word hesitant about taking it. They want to take it, but they are not sure if they really want to take it. People who are especially from the African American, because of the mistrust for the healthcare system, that's one. Another one is a lot of people ask questions about the speed at which the vaccine was produced. And, our answer to that is the technologies that these vaccine producers used in producing the vaccines have been existing for many, many years. And they went through clinical trials, and they have studied it and knew that the benefit of the vaccine outweighs any risks that people might have, and they want to use it. Remember, when the COVID started, people were very, very sick. People were dying. We didn't have any solution. So the government put in more money to make sure that these vaccines are produced in a safe way. Even though we think it's fast, it went through all the rigorous clinical trials without missing even one step. And they're using it for emergency use authorization because people were dying. That is the only treatment available. That's why the vaccine was produced and we're using it. The other thing why people are hesitant is people say my religion won't allow me to take the vaccine, which is legitimate. But if people don't take the vaccine, other people are going to keep getting sick. So when people have doubts, you acknowledge their doubt, but then you still need to tell them the benefit of getting the vaccine. We all need to get the vaccine. Dr. Judy said something about community wellness, community immunity. We need to achieve that community immunity. Certain percentage of the population need to be vaccinated or get immunity against the virus before the pandemic can end. We can be in this for some years, we don't know, but if we keep doing what we're doing, making sure we're safe, keeping our distance, wearing our masks, getting the vaccine, and achieve that community immunity, we are gonna get out of the pandemic sooner than we thought. Thank you.
Thank you.
So if you have someone who has not been vaccinated because they're skeptical, they have questions, again, Dr. Felicia said it's important to acknowledge their concerns. But you and I sitting here today is because we are so invested in this, and we want our communities to be healthier and have our kids go out and have a social life. So your goal and my goal is to direct those people to credible sources where they can get the information that they need. They shouldn't just pick up information from anywhere and take and run with. There are people who will not take the vaccine because they think that it has a live or inactive part of coronavirus in it. At that point, we have to educate them and let them know that no, it's a messenger RNA. They put it in your system. It stimulates your system to produce protection. We don't put the virus in you. And you give them where they can go look for these resources. CDC is a good website. World Health Organization is another good website. You can also go to Minnesota Department of Health if you're in Minnesota. So educate them on where to get the real information so that, again, we can all be safe.
Yeah. Great. Are you ready? All right.
Hi, and my name is Maliki. I'm 5 years old. If a mask can help you for coronavirus.
Can the mask help people with coronavirus? All right.
Are you asking if having your mask on can protect you from having coronavirus? Absolutely, absolutely. Again, for you to believe in the mask, the first thing you have to believe in or to be knowledge about is how is coronavirus being spread. If you know that coronavirus is being spread by you breathing in particles that float in the air, then you know that when you have your mask on, you cannot breathe in those particles, and that will prevent you from having the coronavirus. Another thing that is very important is if you have your mask on, avoid a situation where you keep taking it off and on, because you take it off and on, you put it on a surface, you're touching your face, touching on dirty surfaces, you are going to introduce that virus into your system. And when you have that virus, you pick it from the table because your mask was laying on there, or with your hands, you pull it down and rub your eyes. You have given it the liquid medium because our eyes have moisture, our nostrils have moisture, our mouths have moisture. So when you introduce that virus there, it's going to grow rapidly. So you can have your mask on, but avoid taking it off and on because you would introduce the virus into your system. So yes, your mask will protect you from having the virus.
So your mask, like Dr. Judy said, can protect you from getting the virus. Also, it also protects others. And when you use the disposable masks, make sure you just use it for 1 day at least. After you use this, don't use it tomorrow, especially when you have to put it on and remove it. Those of us who use clothing masks, when you use it for a day, make sure you wash it and get a new one for the next day. Because, you know, we breathe and then we keep it down. Something is growing. So we need to change the mask daily. And also, when you are wearing your mask, make sure you're wearing it the right way. A lot of people wear their masks with just between under their nose. Actually went to a Walmart store and I saw a guy. He was like, his nose was running. He had the mask on. I know it's uncomfortable, believe you me, sometimes wearing this mask. And he had it down. We were on the same eye. And I could not help but tell him, I said, "Excuse me, sir, do you mind pulling your mask up?" He looked at me like I was crazy. I understand that wearing the mask could be uncomfortable sometimes, but if you're wearing the mask and you're not wearing it the right way, you're actually not wearing the mask. So it protects us, but we need to wear it the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, our last question today.
Hi, my name is Taji. I'm 8 years old. Can people still be healed from coronavirus?
Great question. Dr. Judith.
That's a good question. I would start by asking a question. Do we have any kids here who have asthma? Okay. Mina? All right. So asthma is something that has been around for so many years, and I think we are more comfortable talking about asthma. Anytime Mina has an asthma attack, we give her steroids, we give her nebulizer treatment. She feels better, but it leaves a scar. Her lungs will never go back to the full recoil that she normally has. So yes, we can treat and heal people from COVID, But the scars that are left behind, can we ever heal those scars? We have people who, up to this day, they've been COVID-free, or they had COVID a year ago, but they still don't have their sense of taste and smell. There are people whose muscles continue to break down. So there are so many things that we can make you well by not having those acute symptoms, but you have residual symptoms that are very bothersome to your life that you wish you'd never had COVID. And the fortunate thing is that there is the way to prevent you from even having a scar is by doing the 3 basic things that are being recommended. Hand hygiene, and not just hand hygiene, proper hand hygiene, wearing your mask, again, wearing it the proper way to cover your nostrils and your mouth. Avoid taking it off and on repeatedly if you don't need to, and maintaining social distancing. We can do some things. There is no treatment for COVID. We have things to do to manage your symptoms until you start feeling better again. But remember that you will have a scar that will linger, and it can make your life very uncomfortable.
Great. Thank you very much. As we wrap up, I also want to remind you, children, we learned a lot about being good citizens. And when we talk about being good citizens, it requires us to take care of each other. And so as we talk today, we can do a few things to take care of each other. Washing our hands, putting our masks on, staying 6 feet apart from each other. And when you're sick, we stay home. And most importantly, so that we can stop spreading COVID and we can be done with the pandemic, is getting a vaccine. That is being a good citizen. And we all like to be good citizens, right? Right. So do that and help your friends understand that it is for us to be good citizens. And that's why we have to do those things, so that we can take care of each other, so that we can go back to playing outside without our masks on, so that we can enjoy hugging each other and having sleepovers and all the things we look forward to without having to wear a mask or be apart from each other. The vaccine gives us that assurance that if we all get vaccinated, we will get back to what things used to be before the pandemic soon. So be a good citizen, and remind your friends to be a good citizen, and your parents, and get a vaccine when it's time for you to get a vaccine. Anything else to add, Dr. Felicia and Dr. Judith?
Thank you so much. I just want to say that this has been a very thoughtful discussion where our kids are able to bring up their questions and, their fears and anxiety. And we know that, the pandemic has brought so much, so much anxiety and fear, our mental health especially. Remember, during the beginning, the lockdown, kids were home. You just mentioned something about going for sleepovers, being able to go out and play with your friends. It was really, really hard for the kids, the children, our parents who had to stay home, leave work to tend to the kids. Some kids among us have never done online schooling before. It was really, really hard. And then our parents, you know how our kids enjoy us teaching them? Yeah, because we're not their teachers. Some of them will say, Mom, you're not my teacher. My teacher said I should do it in a certain way. So it became a struggle for these kids. A lot of kids, instead of doing their schoolwork, they were busy on the computer doing distractions, games, and all that. It was all a struggle. What about some kids who are on school lunch? Some are not able to get food. So feeding, just nutrition became a problem. Some kids, they have special ed. Those supports were gone, and the kids and the parents were all struggling. Some kids didn't have internet at home. So how are they going to do the homework, do the assignment? It was all a struggle Many parents lost their job and their businesses, and people were all struggling. People couldn't, the anxiety level was so high, fear of the unknown. So we just want to encourage everybody that we're all in this pandemic together. I call it a marathon, it's not a sprint. Even though with the vaccine, we all think, some people, once they got their shot, they think it's over. No, people are still having reinfection and, going to the hospital. We need to be good citizens. That's what you said. We need to be our brother's keepers. We need to do those things we need to do to, be alive and well and go back to our pre-pandemic nature. Coronavirus does not respect anybody. It does not know if you're black or white. It doesn't know if you're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't care who you are. If you expose yourself, you're going to get infected. And, if you get so sick, people end up in the hospital and get so sick. People are still dying from COVID. We don't want to be part of that statistics. We want to do all we can to stay healthy, protect yourself, your children, your family, your friends, and your neighbors. And I think if we all do what we need to do, we can go back to where we were 2 years ago, right? Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here. Thank you.
All right, Dr. Judith, last words for us.
Yeah, before I give my closing remarks, I just want to say these kids have been fabulous. You guys have been very attentive. Your questions have been very knowledgeable questions. And yesterday, one of them said she is below 12 years of age and she feels left out. So to those who are 12 and below or below 12 years of age, I am begging of you, when you become eligible for the vaccine, please do not hesitate to take the vaccine. Do not hesitate to take the vaccine. I can sit here and preach about the vaccine because I know that is what will protect you. Because if you become sick, there is very little I can do to make you feel well. And I don't know if we mentioned this. When you take the vaccine, you are only considered to be protected from it 2 weeks after you've taken the vaccine. Do not take a vaccine today and tomorrow you go out having fun without following the recommendations because you are vaccinated. You are not protected. You're only protected 2 weeks after you've taken the vaccine. Okay, so we always say that our children are the future. I was so happy to be invited here today to come and answer the questions of our kids, because tomorrow you guys will be the leaders in our nation, and we want to empower you with what we have so that you can achieve higher heights, so that when we become handicapped or not able to take care of ourselves, we have you to rely on. So thank you all so much for your input, and I pray and hope that you take the words and the message from here and share it amongst your classmates and even some of your aunties and uncles who are still struggling with the concept of the COVID vaccine. You are not too little to impact somebody's life. So take the message, run with it, and make an impact in the community, because after listening to you guys today, I truly believe in you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. Good. All right. It's been an honor to have you, Dr. Judith and Dr. Felicia, here with us today. The kids appreciate all the learning you've brought to us today. And on behalf of Destiny Hill Church and the Minnesota Council on Foundations, I just want to say thank you for listening to us, and thank you to the church and to the foundation for making it possible for us to be able to educate you, our parents, our children, our community, on how to best prevent yourself from getting coronavirus and all the questions you may have about the vaccine. With that said, that ends today's session, and thank you very much and have a wonderful day.